Let me give you a quick timeline of the events and how skill, tools, and community members helped us get this very dangerous individual off the street. When officers were dispatched to the scene of the shooting, they immediately began talking to witnesses who provided information on what they saw and heard that night. Gun casings were also recovered from the scene. These 9mm shell casings were then entered into what we call NIBIN. NIBIN stands for the National Integrated Ballistics Information Network. It compares the casings to any other potential crimes that the same gun may have been used in. So the casings are compared to other casings collected around the city to see whether or not the same suspect or the same weapon was used. In this case, a preliminary link was discovered between the casings recovered at the homicide and those recovered from another unrelated incident. I have Captain Travis Moss here with me if anybody has any questions when we're done, and he can expand on NIBIN. But out of the 273 NIBIN sites across the United States, we at Tampa PD have the fastest turnaround time from collection to entry in the entire nation. 4 hours prior to this homicide Saturday night, there was a report of an unidentified white male who was later determined to be McGovern firing a gun into the water off of Bayshore Boulevard. A witness told us that night that McGovern was riding a bicycle when he approached her and one of her friends. He said, "There's my target," pulled out a gun and started firing the gun from his waistband into the water. While the witnesses and her friends ran from the area in fear for their life, McGovern continued to fire this gun into the water. The witnesses reported this incident to Tampa PD and we responded. Investigators on that scene found video from along Bayshore Boulevard that captured a person riding his bicycle northbound shortly after the shots were fired, and right where the witnesses said that he had fired the shots into the water. Officers responded to the location and found several 9mm casings. The casings were placed into NIBIN. Thankfully, no one was struck by a bullet in this case. And if shooting into the water may not seem like that big of a deal, these citizens and reporting this incident gave us the crucial link and the crucial evidence to solving our homicide. After the casings from the homicide were entered into NIBIN, the comparison match came back, quickly establishing a link between the two events. So the gun being fired into the water was the same weapon as the gun used in the homicide. Detectives continued to develop leads and gather more evidence in this case at that point. Homicide detectives and many plainclothes officers from around the city met and formulated surveillance plans for around the city to try to find the individual spotted on the bicycle that we had video of. Last night, a Tampa police officer luckily located McGovern as he rode his bicycle along West Hillsborough Avenue, less than a mile from the original homicide scene. Detectives then interviewed McGovern, who identified himself in the video and admitted to firing the gun off of Bayshore Boulevard because he was testing the weapon. McGovern also admitted to having previous encounters with the homicide victim, walking to the underpass on the night of the murder, setting out to take the victim's life with that gun. McGovern also admitted to stabbing the victim back on July 4th. While the two have had previous encounters, at this time the extent to how well they knew each other is still to be determined and under investigation. Last night we conducted a search warrant on McGovern's home and recovered the 9mm handgun that he used in the homicide and the same gun he used on Bayshore Boulevard. The gun had been reloaded. Detectives are still combing through items found during the warrant, including a litany of manifestos found in the house. What is written in the manifestos is concerning, but as the investigation is still ongoing, we're not going to release exact details of those. We'll release them at a later time. The efficient, quickly coordinated police work across all aspects of the entire Tampa Police Department made our community safer by getting this very, very dangerous individual off the street very quickly. The entire Tampa Police Department is thinking and praying for the family and friends of the victim in this case. Our hope is that this arrest provides them with a small sense of closure and justice for this senseless murder. My concern, as always, is for the safety of the Tampa community. But as you can see, once again, this entire department worked with a great sense of urgency, selflessly and tirelessly, to bring this case to a successful conclusion before this defendant could inflict any more harm on anybody else in the city of Tampa. I am here to say I am so proud of the hard work that the men and women of this department did in this case. This case was solved and the defendant was arrested less than 48 hours after he committed the murder. That is very impressive police work, very impressive, and I'm so proud. Anybody have any questions? Not that we know of yet. The Niben matches were from those two incidents. We don't know if he's committed any other homicides or any other shootings at this point.
Is he legally allowed to have this gun? Convicted felon? No, yes.
Let me tell you a little bit about this this individual, Timothy McGovern. He was a Marine from 2012 to 2014, dishonorably discharged over a narcotics arrest. His recent history includes numerous Baker Acts and Marchman Acts, obviously has a history of mental illness. He was a suspect in a criminal mischief. He was Baker Acted and Marchman Acted several times over the last several months. Anyone else?
Relationship with this guy?
We're not. We know that they knew each other. We knew that this victim was victimized by McGovern twice in the last several months, obviously leading to his demise. We're still combing through those details.